Shine bright up all night, we're never slowing down. Fall in love, drunk mistakes, we're bound to hit the ground. Gotta keep this feeling, keep on breathing, even if we're slipping away. So I close my eyes and lose myself now. Do it like it's only today. We got a party for a lifetime. No, we ain't stopping for the sunrise. No, we don't care about the bad nights. And for a second I can feel like this. Make me feel like this. We got a party for a lifetime. No, we ain't stopping for the sunrise. No, we don't care about the bad nights. And for a second I can feel like this. Make me feel like this. Young blood made of gold, a mind you can't control. Running wild, can't come down. My head is in the clouds. Gotta keep this feeling, keep on breathing, even if we're slipping away. So I close my eyes and lose myself now. Do it like it's only today. We got a party for a lifetime. No, we ain't stopping for the sunrise. No, we don't care about the bad nights. And for a second I can feel like this. Make me feel like this. We got a party for a lifetime. No, we ain't stopping for the sunrise. No, we don't care about the bad nights. And for a second I can feel like this. Make me feel like this. Shine bright up all night, we're never slowing down. Fall in love, drunk mistakes, we're bound to hit the ground. Gotta keep this feeling, keep on breathing, even if we're slipping away. So I close my eyes and lose myself now. Do it like it's only today. We got a party for a lifetime. No, we ain't stopping for the sunrise. No, we don't care. On the day we are together again. On the day we are together again, I will pull you in close like a hoop with no end. On the day we are together again, we will share the same table again. We will share the same table again. I will pass you the salt, the candlelight will bend when we share the same table again. We will walk around the block hand in hand. We will walk around the block hand in hand. We will stop for a snack at the taco truck stand when we walk around the block hand in hand. Someday we healers who keep us alive, and the ones we love who are gone, and the ones we love who are gone. We remember the stories and we sing the songs for the ones we love who are gone. And on the day we are together.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate your time. It's good to see you all. Hey, Tara. Good to see you. I see you. Hey, September. Delicious. SL. Fluffy. Um, Judy. Selena. Shannon. Hello. Gypsy. Mike. Hey, Heather. Good to see you. Preschool Granny. Hi everyone. Just hi. It's good to see you all. Um, yeah, our friend Jackie, a lot of you may not know who Jackie is, but I know there are some in here that do, and we go way back, way back. And Jackie unfortunately passed away just a couple days ago. Jackie passed very unexpectedly. She had broke her hip a year or so ago. Hello, Yaya. How are you? Good to see you. Um, she had broke her hip and she had been placed on life support twice in that time that while she was fighting, and she was doing really good the last few months. I had talked to her and we were cutting up. uh hey, Tavern, good to see you, honey. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for being here. uh and Jackie was funny as they come. I really understood her humor, tremendously understood her humor. And she had laid down that morning, and then woke up. She was fine. uh and then she would take a couple naps during the day, and about noon, from what I understand, from what Jebra was telling us, she laid down and never woke back up. So don't know what the cause is or anything. um just very shocking, very shocking. She came from the Summer Wells community. She really loved Summer, and Jackie and we had talked about her daughter's case on my channel before, and her daughter, in my opinion, was murdered. And we're going to talk about that today as well. But she didn't want anyone to bear the burden of not getting justice for their loved ones. She was very active in setting up grief groups. She advocated for her daughter up until she got sick. She was a strong advocate for her daughter. She would do news specials with the local news. Sloan Bella, who is a creator on here, she did a reading for Jackie's daughter Angie, who passed, and she was a big fan of Sloan as well. So, and all of that. Hey, Grits, good to see you. Good to see you. Hey, Beverly. And I thought, what can I do? There's not much I can do other than, pay our respects to uh, Jackie. And she's, finally with her daughter, Angie. Here's Angie. Here's Jackie. Uh, and I thought we could go over her daughter's case because that's what you would want. She definitely she spent countless dollars of hiring specialist experts across the country because in my opinion her daughter's case was botched botched from the very beginning from the Independence Police Department. And there's an interview that Jackie and her husband Tim did, and we'll go over it. Um, and Jackie and Tim talk about their daughter. Now, Jackie has a little channel, and she went by Jackie S for those in the community. Um, Here is Jackie and Tim. Um, Hey, Chloe, Granny. And I can tell you, Jackie and Tim had um, one daughter together, and that was Angie. And Jackie has another daughter from a previous marriage, but Tim and Jackie, that's all they had together was Angie. So, Tim, he that was his only child. And they were never the same after Angie passed, especially in the way that she passed. As any parent has lost a child, um, it's something, the greatest loss. It is the absolute greatest loss that a human can have is losing a child. There is no greater loss. So I'm going to let you see a little bit of their life and what happened.
Hey, Dad. It's Angie. Happy Father's Day. You are the greatest dad, and I hope we can talk a little later. I hope you're having a good day. Love you. Bye.
That voicemail will never be deleted.
She's never gonna call again. She's never gonna come in here again.
Only 28 years old and gone. 3 days after Angie left that Father's Day voicemail, her dad got a different call, this time from police, telling him his little girl was dead.
It's been hell. I don't know how else to explain it.
It was June 21st of last year. Angie's family asked police for a welfare check on their daughter.
She had called my mom. My mom had called me and said something doesn't sound right.
An officer knocked on the door, and according to the police narrative, knocked until a man named Donald Greer opened the door. Greer appeared to be shocked at the sight of supposedly seeing Angie's body for the
So this is the cretin that, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinions, that did this to Angie. Angie is laying dead in the home. He comes to the door and says he doesn't know that she's dead in the home.
first time. We'll have more on Greer in a moment. The officer walked in and found a white female sitting naked on the couch with what appeared to be a gunshot wound to the forehead. By the time Angie's parents, Tim and Jackie Schroer, got to the duplex, her body was already gone. They were able to walk around the home, what should have been the scene of an active investigation. They were looking for their daughter's belongings, instead, finding evidence.
We found the gun case. We
We
found
grabbed the
3 cell
phones.
phones.
Independence police told Tim Schroer that day it was suicide. It was even printed on her death certificate less than a week later. Less than 2 months after her death, the Schroer say police told them the case was closed. Suicide. End of story. But that was just the beginning. With a closed investigation, the Schroers could get the police file on the investigation, including disturbing photos of their daughter's body and detailed narratives from police at the scene. Almost as shocking as learning about their daughter's death, they say was learning how the Independence Police Department dismissed this investigation.
I feel like they just
threw
threw
her
her away, threw her to the side.
Angie's parents felt the police department had failed them, failed their daughter, and were standing in the way of the truth.
It'll be a long time before I get over that, being angry with the Independence Police Department, because they failed us from
Day one.
day one, from the bottom to the top.
At Angie's grave, you won't find a headstone. Wanting the truth, not able to afford both, they made a choice.
I'm going to do everything I can to get justice for Angie. If it's the last breath I take.
Hiring their own investigators was the next step.
We just want to know the truth.
Nobody took time to look at the evidence on the case, because if they had, then there's no way in the world they could have ruled it as a suicide.
Terry Deister is the former head of investigations for the Platte County Sheriff's Office and owner of a private investigations business for decades.
If I'd have been in control of this, I'd have probably fired every one of them.
Everyone on the scene.
Everyone that have responded to that scene.
He worked with John Caton, a 30-year vet of the KCMO Crime Lab, former chief forensics criminalist.
Do you think this was properly investigated?
No.
Not at all.
Both strongly believed Angela Schroer's death certificate should not read suicide. They say police jumped to conclusions about Angie, who'd struggled with drugs for years and had attempted to take her own life before. But her parents say she'd been clean for months and was turning her life around. Their proof was a toxicology report that later showed Angie was clean.
They just assumed she was a doper and she'd killed herself. And it just went from there and got worse.
Deister explains the problem started from the beginning at 9:57 a.m. when the dispatch log shows police first got the call for the welfare check. Less than 15 minutes later at 10:11, an officer already decided for himself what happened, telling dispatch, quote, self-inflicted gunshot wound. The officer saw Angie's naked body, shot in the forehead, on the couch, bruises on her face and forearms. Yet there was never an autopsy or rape kit.
The bruising on her forearms, to me, that looked like she was restrained.
Even the medical examiner's notes show Schroer's mother called them and asked, quote, why an autopsy wasn't performed, and if someone is found nude, wouldn't a rape kit be done? Why wasn't a rape kit done immediately?
I'm scared that he raped her. That just horrifies me.
She's talking about Donald Greer, the 67-year-old man living with her 28-year-old daughter, the man who opened the door for the first arriving officer, the only other person at the home at the time of Angie's death.
Up next, our investigation continues. What we uncovered about Greer's violent criminal past, police seem to ignore. Plus, the experts show the biggest mistakes police made, even calling them, quote, incompetent, untrained, and lazy. You just heard how 28-year-old Angela Schroer's family says there's critical evidence proving someone murdered their daughter, then staged it as a suicide. Now we'll show you key evidence they say police outright ignored, including this man, the only person home when she was killed, Donald Greer.
What police never mention in the investigative file is that Greer had a lengthy record, including a criminally negligent homicide conviction. We found court records from
That's right. He has a criminally negligent homicide in the past. Criminally negligent homicide. And they did nothing. Nothing.
New York, where Greer confessed to shooting and killing his neighbor as part of a plea deal. As a
That's right. He shot and unalived his neighbor in the past. And the police, they come to do a wellness check on Angie. He comes to the door, acting all frantic, saying, "Oh my God, she's dead. I just found her."
convicted felon, Greer could have been arrested for just being in the presence of a gun. Instead, police took his word.
All they asked him was, "Did you shoot her?"
Donald Greer said no, and he added he did not hear a gunshot. In a home that is less than 500 square feet, we went to the home where Angie was found to learn more. The now abandoned duplex is filled with garbage. There's not much space. This is the bedroom where Donald Greer says he was asleep and didn't hear a gunshot that came from this living room, less than 10 feet away.
Now, if you was in a 500 square foot duplex, 10 feet away, I don't care if you're sleeping or in a coma, you're going to hear that. It is going to ring that house wide open. It's going to be loud.
That's the couch where Schroer was found. While we were there, we also met a neighbor who said he heard the gunshot while he was standing in his home the next lot over.
That's right. The neighbor in the next house, the next lot over, heard a gunshot. But Donald Greer is saying, nothing, didn't hear it. She was 10 feet away, didn't hear it.
Police didn't know that because they never talked to him.
It was loud. It was loud. It got my attention. It got my wife's attention.
Did police ever talk to you that day?
No,
They never asked you any questions.
no.
Was that surprising?
The police didn't ask the neighbors if they saw anything, heard anything, nothing. Nothing.
To you?
It seemed a little odd.
But police did listen to Greer tell different stories about the gun. According to police records, he tells one officer the gun laying on Angela's chest was not his, that he had never seen it before. But within minutes, he tells an Independence police detective something very different. He said, quote, his friend sold the gun to her. He said he knew the gun was in the house, going on to tell officers he'd held the gun when it was first purchased. The neighbor says Greer told him a different story.
He told me that it was his gun.
Independence police.
So 3 different stories right there. 3 different stories. Greer had said he had never seen the gun. Oh, but then he held the gun whenever it was first purchased, maybe so because your fingerprints are on it. And then he told the neighbor this was his gun.
Never tested the gun to confirm it was used. Instead, sent it to an unnamed lab for testing, and that would take an entire year.
I think they're stalling to cover up their mishandling the case.
You think investigators are stalling?
Yeah.
No,
I mean, why
Beverly.
else would you ship it out of state? We got a highway patrol lab at Jeff City. We got the big lab in Kansas City that do all that.
The investigative file has no record of taking DNA from Greer or testing his hands for gunshot residue. They bagged Angie's hands, but there is no record they tested hers either.
Should they have done that?
Oh, sure. That should have been the first thing they did, is secure his hands so they could do the residue test.
How do you think investigators go about making that type of error?
Well, they could either be incompetent, untrained, or just lazy.
The location of the shell casing is also problematic.
If the gun had been pointed toward her, it would go out into the room and not behind her.
If Angie shot herself, like police say she did, then the casing would have been found in this part of the room. But police said they found the shell casing back here, behind the couch.
There's a good chance that this was a staged scene where someone might have placed that gun and repositioned the victim.
Why would someone, especially a woman, why would a woman unalive herself naked, sitting up on a couch? It, to me, was staged, and this was botched, and I mean botched. You didn't check his hands for gunshot residue. You didn't talk to the neighbors. There was nothing, absolutely nothing done. Not a R kit. This county, it's called, I think it's Jackson County in Missouri. Oh my God, I should do a live on that. The coroner at the time is a fucking insane human being. Insane. So much cover up, so much, what's the word I'm looking for? Fraud, in my opinion. And he was a coroner that has just bounced around because he's been allegedly fired from so many places. Forensic, no, nothing.
And Deister agrees.
You believe somebody moved the body?
No, I feel almost 100% the body was moved.
But Deister says the most shocking oversight by Independence Police was laying right on Angie's chest.
The blood flow pattern being interrupted that way where the gun was laying, it couldn't happen.
I have seen the crime scene photos. Jackie had shared them with me. The way the blood flow pattern, it wasn't possible. And she had the gun sitting just staged on her chest. When someone unalives themselves, it just doesn't like fall on your chest. Perfect. It doesn't work like that.
Happened that way. The gun was placed there after the stream had already come down, and the gun was placed there, and maybe even moved because there was so much smearing of the blood.
And then there's the entry wound, where the single shot entered Angie's forehead. The angle of entry tells Deister someone else was likely there.
The top of the barrel was pressed tight against her skull, and the bottom was loose, and that's where the gas escaped, tearing her skin larger at the bottom.
And what does that indicate to you?
It means that somebody was standing there and had the gun up against her forehead, tight at the top and loose at the bottom.
Someone else shot her.
Yes, that's my opinion.
Would the family have been informed? We asked Independence Police to sit down with us and explain how they determined Angie's death was suicide. They declined, telling us it was an open investigation and they can't comment.
We miss her, Lord. We just ask you, Father, to be with her family, guide.
The Schroer family says they haven't heard from the Independence Police Department since back in August. That's when they were told the case was closed.
Nobody deserves that treatment. And I swear it's not the first case, and I doubt it's going to be the last one. But my goal is to make it the last one, because I'm not going away.
The Independence Police Department responded with an emailed statement reading in part, her apparent cause of death was a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Witness statements, as well as the crime scene, led responding officers.
Witness statements. The witness was the only guy in the house who didn't hear it, allegedly, and that had been, killed someone before. That.
Officers and detectives to initially believe that the incident was an apparent suicide. At this point in the investigation, there is no evidence to indicate that the death was caused by anyone but Angela. The full statement is on our website at kctv5.com. The family says the worst part about all of this is that they may never know the truth. They learned Donald Greer died just a few months ago. I'm Emily Sinovic, KCTV5 News.
That's right. Donald died. He died. And Jackie talked to him. She was very nice to him. She would try to get information as much as she could. But this isn't there is several families out there that in this community that in the Independence Police Department that have been through the similar things. Jackie's going to be at Myers Funeral Chapel in Blue Springs, Missouri. Funeral arrangements for 55-year-old Jackie Dawn Schroer, a Blue Springs, Missouri resident, are pending. She passed away on Tuesday, December 19th at her home. Jackie was born August 13th, 1968 to Dan and Cheryl Schultz in Kansas, Missouri. Tyler Stingley will be the funeral director assisting the family for their arrangements. Meyer Funeral Chapel in Blue Springs has been entrusted with arrangements. Memories of Jackie and words of comfort of her family may be shared at myersfuneralchapel.com. I will drop this link if you want to go to there and pay your respects. You can leave some words for the family. I had Jackie on my channel when I was just started out. She entrusted me. And she tells us the story of her daughter. And there's so much to this case. All she wanted was, after the suspect died, all she wanted was them to change the cause of death and take accountability. But unfortunately, Jackie went to her grave. World for you, justice. There is
Thank
no
you.
time limit. There is no, you make yourself comfortable and you say anything that you want to say.
Okay,
It,
thank
it
you.
is yours.
Yeah, she was
And
probably
I'll
like,
let you just
yeah.
tell your story and then we'll go over.
Okay. And you might
Okay?
have to help me with some timelines and stuff because I'm really
Gotcha.
bad with those. But
Gotcha. Hmm.
Angie was born June 19th, 1989.
Hmm.
A real fun. It wasn't too funny to me, but it was a funny story. I was asleep. Her name was supposed to be Jessica or Alexis. My husband decided to name her Angela
Mhm.
and didn't want to wake me up for that. So her whole life, I kept thinking, okay, she's my angel, Angela.
Hmm.
Anyway, go on. She's a good kid.
Can you imagine, like, you just carried a baby 9 months and you're exhausted and you're asleep and they come in asking for the name and your your husband names the child and you don't even we always laughed about that. And I want to remember Jebra in this. Jebra was Jackie's best friend and her caregiver, and you could not have had a better best friend than Jebra. She took care of Jackie day and night for months in the hospital, months. And Jebra, we love you and we are so thankful for absolutely everything. We're so sorry for this. I know this is extremely difficult and want to give our sympathy to Tim and Jackie, their other daughter, along with Jackie's parents.
Kid. She's into basketball like crazy and always point guard front. She wa- she always started all the games. She did competition teams every year, sometimes two different competition teams, including school. She was awesome at it. She loved it, but she was a tomboy her whole life. She
Hmm.
never cared for makeup, no fingernail polish. She would wear the cheapest, I don't know, $1.99 um, flip flops. They had to be white. She wore those for the rest of her life.
Really?
I mean, she wore those if there was snow out. She had those things on.
That's who she was.
You know, she
That's
hated
good.
the thought of Uggs or, I mean, she had her Nikes and stuff, but she wanted those flip flops.
She was a sports gal.
Oh, very much so, cross country and everything.
Yes.
And just funny without trying to be funny.
Yes.
And I have an older daughter, and I actually got with Angie's dad, my husband. We're still together. When my oldest daughter was about 1.5 years old. So he raised her too, but this is my husband's only child. There's no child out there that he hasn't paid back child support for or owes anything on. We got together in our late teens
Hmm.
and we decided to have a baby at that young and stupid age, but
No.
it was what we wanted at that time. And
Yes.
we don't have no regrets. And
Absolutely.
Angie, she only gave us one issue all through high school where she may not have graduated because of the stupid stunt she did, but she was not grown up around drugs or alcohol or any of that stuff. No pills, nothing.
Tell
So,
the story about her because she was kind of a clown too. She was just naturally funny. But tell the story about like how she would dress in the school and the costumes and
okay,
stuff.
the one thing that got her in trouble was she went out. She had to have fancy costumes. You know, if she was going to do something, she was going to do it large. And so I spent several $100s on this penguin costume from California. And she had a gecko one too. And she kept them in their back car, back in her trunk. And anytime she went to somebody's house, she may just go up to the door in one of those outfits and knock. And people would get a kick out of it. One day she was going out to get her penguin costume, and there was a guy she knew that was parked close to her. He has a joint. She decides to take a puff of it, puts on the penguin costume, goes in, and she's going to crack up the police officer and the SRO officer in the office. Needless to say, the officer said, "I smell marijuana." She goes, "Oh, I think it was those girls that just walked by." So here she is in a penguin costume, getting kicked out of school. We're getting calls, and I mean, I was livid, but now looking back, it was funny. We got
Yeah.
her back in school. She graduated, and she walked across that platform with no problem.
Yes.
So, I mean, she just had a heart of gold. She would do anything for anybody. She would give you her last dollar, and I mean that. And she
Yes.
did. And there was nobody she would not stop and talk to. If there was guys with baggy jeans, and I'm not talking about race in this because I've seen all races do this,
Mm-hmm.
but with the jeans below the butt, oh, that used to drive me insane. And
Mm-hmm.
she would get so mad at me. This is right before she died too. She'd get so mad at me and say, "Mom, don't judge them. You
Mm-hmm.
don't know what they've been through." And I thought,
Yes.
oh my God, you've also got to have some common sense, girl. You can't just be so naive. She
Yeah.
had no street smarts.
Yeah. But I loved, that she never was in cliques. She
Right.
despised, she liked literally, it didn't matter what part of the school or group, she was always just everyone's friend.
Yeah, she truly was. She would
Hmm.
take up for the underdogs all the time.
Yeah, type of person.
And she would teach them too how to play basketball, even if they didn't want to touch the dang thing.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, she and my oldest, I say our oldest daughter because her dad wasn't in her life too much. His
Hmm.
parents were, which
Hmm.
was great. And they took Angie into, but so I'll say our oldest daughter a lot. But anyway, she she was pregnant and she had my grandson in 2005. And she had moved out, and I cried like a baby for a week, begging her to come back because did not want her to leave. Well, Angie graduates in 2007, and now I'm excited thinking we've got our nest to ourselves now.
Hmm.
It's time for them to start flying now. Only for Christy to come back a couple years later with our grandson. Now we've got plus two more.
Right.
So we purchased another house so the three of them could live in it. And I didn't want Christy to be alone, and I didn't want Angie to be alone, obviously, at a young age. And it worked out good. Angie babysat for my grandson, Sterling, and was a great aunt, all that, potty trained him, everything.
Hmm.
And during this time, she would always walk no matter what. She always walked or ran, and she always stayed in shape. And she eventually got a dog from a dog pound who had never touched the grass or anything. His name's Snickers. We got him.
Hmm.
Sweet little beagle. But anyway, she would take him for walks because that house did not have a fenced in yard.
Right.
So after her death, I learned that this guy that we will speak of named Donald Greer or Don
This is
Greer.
hold it. Do you want, just tell me yes or no? Do you want to talk about the uh the carols, the Christmas carols?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Start
let
out with
me get to that. Okay, every year at Christmas, after she was old enough to drive, she would hand out Christmas cards every Christmas Eve to all her friends. She didn't care if she had to drive 30 miles away. She was going to give them on
she hand
Christmas Eve.
delivered them. This is this story right here is when I think some of the trauma started for Angie, and she's getting ready to tell you. She's delivering Christmas cards. She hand delivered every one of them. We're at Christmas right now. It's great.
Hand deliver 'em,
Everyone.
no matter who. And she worked at the stadium, the Chiefs Royal Stadium, so she had a lot of friends too outside of school. She would hand
Mhm.
deliver them. And this one Christmas, and I believe it was 2009, 2010, and we talked. She wanted to be a virgin, you know, until she met the right guy. And I was like, boy, this is gonna suck if she falls in love with a really bad guy. But anyway, um, so she was, and she would talk to me about anything.
You got a
Well,
dog
Christmas Eve,
barking.
Christmas Eve, 2009, she didn't show up to our house with my other daughter and Sterling to
Mhm.
have Christmas Eve presents. So I was
Mhm.
kind of pissed. She wasn't answering her phone or anything, and she just got off work at Cracker Barrel. She worked there too, with the stadium. So
Which was
one of
very
those,
unlike her.
yes, she showed up no matter what.
Very unlike her. Mhm.
And anyway, she didn't show up, and I was worried. Then I was getting mad. Christy finally told me she was home. You know, after she went home, was at home sleeping, which really made me mad. The next day, she shows up at Christmas dinner 2 hours late and wouldn't talk, and that was unlike her. Well, she told my mom, she confided in my mom because she was scared of what her dad would do, that she had been essayed
Mhm.
by two guys, and
Mhm.
one was her friend that she
When
hand
she was
delivered the
delivering the
card to.
cards, they invited her in. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is an important part here. The only things Angie would drink her whole life were water, Sunny D, root beer, and hot chocolate. Nothing else.
That was
So
it.
this guy convinced her to stay to have a drink. She finally said Sunny D. He put something in her drink, and here she is. And imagine every orifice, and never been with anybody before. And she felt
Yes.
dirty and disgusting. Disgusted. I still know those
Yes.
two guys' names. And that's who. That's when our daughter started to die. Right there.
Yeah. That that changed her because um Angie, she wasn't the girl that would flaunt any part of her body. She would keep her like to even wear a slight V-neck was a big deal. You almost had to beg her to do that, wasn't it, Jackie?
Oh yes, I was like Angie. You know, back in the day, I had your body. You ought to be knocking it out. You know.
Jackie, she was a girly girl. She liked the makeup. She wouldn't go anywhere without her hair done. In fact, the day before she died, she had her hair done. And um, Angie, she wouldn't even wear a V-neck. Usually you're trying to get your girls to be like, clothes it, put some clothes on, but it was opposite for that. Jackie was like, wear a V-neck.
I mean, and she would wear nothing. I mean, she wore jeans even in the summer. You know, and she never wore V-necks hardly. Maybe once or twice when she dressed up.
Yeah.
And then to find out after her death, okay, she got this dog. She's still living in our other house. Our other daughter moved on years ago, you know, and with her
Mhm.
husband now. Excuse me. Anyway, she would walk all the time and walk Snickers. And I found out after her death that this Don guy had once lived in our city
Mhm.
and closely within a couple blocks of the second house we purchased.
Mhm.
So I did not know that. I always wondered how she met him.
Mhm.
But
So you purchased a second home,
right,
and who was living in in the second home?
After Christy and Sterling left, it was just Angie for a while, and then she entered into a relationship. We love him to death still to this day, and he eventually moved in, and he had
Right.
a little boy
Yes.
with
Any
some tummy issues.
disabilities? Yeah.
So she was the first one to ever get him to eat. He was on feeding tubes and surgeries and stuff. And she really
Angie,
took to this mom thing.
yes. Now, at the time, uh, whenever Angie and Angie's boyfriend, um, you'll get to it. They were together, then they broke up, and Angie left. Oh, thank you, Love a Scorpio, Jackie S. Thank you for letting us know about
Oh, I love
Angie's story.
Scorpio.
She's a sweetheart. Thank you so
Yes.
much, Scorpio. Um, so Angie lived in this house, and then Angie moved out because they kind of had a little split up, and
They
then
had a split up.
Angie was moving, and then Angie kind of moved in with Dawn.
Dawn. And the
But
reason,
I just hold on. I don't want to get to
okay,
that yet. I want you. I just want to make it very tight and clear for for the
okay.
audience. Um, Angie at at the time of Angie's death, Angie and him was getting ready to get back together, weren't they? They were talking. She was
Yes.
excited. She was looking forward to it.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Okay. So just make that as a little note, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
There were text messages, phone calls, all
Right.
that. And
Okay.
she was
Now go
happy.
ahead.
She came to
Yep.
our house to get her papers to renew her driver's license. And the
Yep.
papers were actually at the other house, and she was so excited she was going to get to see them.
Yes. She was excited about, the little the kid and everything as well.
Yes, and this relationship, he took it badly when she died, Nick, her boyfriend. And he said that he had never seen her naked ever in his life. And they had relations less than 10 times. And this was a 2.5 year
Right. Well, but
relationship.
some people, I mean, they don't like you to see them naked. You know what I mean? They want all the lights out and everything else. So,
Right.
you
But I
know.
mean, for not to have the relations at such a young age,
Oh, absolutely.
and him not want to,
Yeah.
she would tell him she didn't want to, because of the SA. Sorry.
Yes. It's okay.
Uh,
So go ahead and tell how the thing happened
okay, so
at the
then she
house.
walking this
Yeah.
dog, she met Don years
Mhm.
before this, and she got onto drugs, and it was pills, was
Right.
her poison,
Right.
and and she had taken too many one night and passed out. Basically, she was fine, didn't have to go to the hospital or anything, but her boyfriend told me it's either her at this house or me and my son. I said, you and your son stay. Angie can come home here.
Right. You couldn't kick the kid out on the
Right.
streets, with a baby. Yeah.
So Angie came here, and I had just had a knee replacement. So I had some potent medicine, and she took them all.
hmm
And we had also tried before this. I've watched her withdraw, like somebody else is going through that most of us know.
Yeah.
And it's hard to watch anybody, but your
Very
own
hard.
kid. It's
Very hard.
disgusting to watch what this does to your body.
Yeah.
And
Been there.
anyway, yes, I can't even imagine the
Mhm.
shakes, all that stuff, the sweating, the freezing.
10 years ago. Thank God I'm not there anymore.
Yes, and congratulations.
Thank you.
But we tried to get her in rehab. We offered to send her to the place in Malibu.
hmm
She wouldn't go there. She was our beach girl. So, um, and we couldn't get her in anywhere. So what do? All these people think there's just all these rehabs you can go to.
Right.
You can't get into a lot of them. Their beds are full max capacity.
Absolutely.
Actually, a friend of ours had to send their son to the same place Paris Hilton went to.
Hmm.
Fargo, Utah. Anyway, that was a few $100,000, which at the time, you
God
know,
bless.
we'd even considered that. But
It's crazy.
so we went through all this. But anyway, she would call Dawn, come get her, because she was tweaked. She needed some drugs. And I'd say, if you're going to stay gone, I think getting tired of this. This was
Yes.
after several times of this.
Hmm.
Anyway, so she moved in with him. I had seen Don one time at our other house, and I told him never to come back. I did not like him. This was a guy that was at least 30, 40 years older than her,
Hmm.
and he just knew what he was. He was a
Yeah.
sleazeball.
Dirty old man.
Yes. And
And it's nothing wrong with being old, but he was just a dirty old, like a dirty in every aspect, is what I mean.
and Angie was a clean freak, like OCD. Like if
Yes.
the dog bowl was twisted wrong when she came over here, because we were both OCD about it,
Yes.
stuff. So anyway, that's another thing. But so she went and lived with him. She'd come back. In fact, one night me and my husband's sister had to go pick her up. All her stuff was in the street. She was crying. She didn't have a car because she had totaled it. And I thought, good, because now she can't just be gallivanting around and hurt
Right.
somebody.
Right.
And anyway, um, I'm sorry. Hold on a second.
No, you're fine.
So we went and picked her up, and Don lived in a small duplex. Each side is like 420 square foot.
Hmm.
So it's a very small place, imagine. And he was on the other doorstep, the other side of the duplex doorstep, waving a gun, GUN at us.
Hmm.
And I'm like, oh my God, this guy's really crazy.
Yes.
Well, after she would come back home,
So Jackie and her husband Tim had tried to pick uh, Angie up before, and this is a felon who has already unalived a person before, and he's waving a GUN around at Jackie and her husband. Then this is before any of that happened. It's crazy, and they didn't even investigate it.
she would stay with us, stay with us. She was still using. I knew it. She was still stealing some pills here and there from people in
Hmm.
the family. And anyway, she would go back. She was scared to death. She goes, Mom, he's going to kill all of us.
Guys, I'm going to show you a picture of Don.
Trigger
And this
warning.
is an actual picture of him.
Trigger warning.
There he is.
That is an actual picture of this sorry excuse for a human being. There's another one that I'm going to show you guys.
Yes.
He makes me sick.
Oh, disgusts me. So,
He literally makes me want to throw up.
yes. And so Angie, he goes, he'll kill us. And I said, no, he won't, because he and my husband both have CCWs, and we'd go to the
Mhm.
range all the time.
Mhm.
I'd say he's not leaving, and I knew that. And then she would come over once in a while. She finally went back because One day we went outside and there was 3 knives stuck in our ground. And we could hear his car going back and forth at different occasions. This has never happened to us before, so the timing, either it was a huge coincidence or it was that guy right there.
Tell me if that is not creepy. Why would someone take a picture like this if you're not crazy? 3 knives stuck in the ground at their house. Creepy man. This man has unalived. He unalived his neighbor. And, in my opinion, Angie as well. He kind of does like an older version, Heather. Oh my God. I'm going to blow it up to
And
a full picture.
and anyway, out of she was so scared of getting herself into this situation, and now that he was threatening us too, she felt horrible. She went back.
He
She
stuck
finally
the
came.
knives in the ground, right?
Yes, that's it.
This guy, like, I would rather Freddy Krueger come at me than this guy.
Yeah,
Just the way he's
exactly.
kind of hunched over and those skinny fucking arms, and he looks like, I don't know. I just can't take it. I'm sorry.
It's disgusting.
Just disgusting.
So anyway, by this time, they're out of pills. They can't keep the pills between them, so she ends up doing heroin,
Right.
and it got pretty bad. And she would come over. She didn't have a cell phone. I cut her off of a cell phone because she went back to him.
Yes.
So he would have to use hers. She would have to use his. I mean, and
Mhm.
I didn't realize I was always having to be on speaker.
Yes.
And it didn't dawn on me until later. And then she'd come over once in a while.
Now remember, these two, they were not dating, but he wanted to be with Angie, but Angie was not interested. But anytime she would call her mom, her dad, anybody, it had to be on speaker. He controlled her.
She was not a selfie person whatsoever. I'm surprised she took that last picture of her, and I'm so thankful she did. That was right
Yes, this
before.
picture on the thumbnail and above Jackie, this was the last picture of her. It was taken the Sunday before she died while she was at church.
Yes, and I'm thankful I have that picture.
Yeah.
Um. Anyway, so Don lived in Independence, Missouri, which is it's a pretty big city.
Mhm.
Harry Truman lived there,
The
all
35th
that.
president. Mhm.
Me and my husband have never had any problems with police other than speeding tickets, a lot of them for my husband.
Same. Not for independence, but
Right. But I
yeah.
mean, who knows where he's got all of them? He's had a bunch.
Yeah.
Anyway, um, you floored me there with your succulent, Justin.
Sorry.
Um,
Go ahead.
so anyway, they were living there. She was doing heroin. She has no phone. She would come over here and she would ask me to take a picture of her. And I thought, okay, should have Chiefs. She always wore Chiefs. Football nut like crazy. No matter whose team it was, she was watching them. And she had all of these jerseys, even back to Marcus Allen when he was playing for the Chiefs.
Mhm.
And she, I'm so sorry, Justin.
Why?
I mean, I'm stuttering here.
Take your time. Nobody's in a hurry. You have all
Well,
the support in the world.
well, thank you
You're
guys,
good.
but I just,
I don't remember where I was.
It's a lot to remember.
What were
So
we just talking about?
you were talking about the photo.
Okay, she had taken
She
that
would
photo.
always make you
Oh, she would
photos.
have us take photos, and then it dawned on me, um, he's making her have proof that she's here
Mhm.
because he would call my home phone while she was here, and I'm like, I'm not answering it. So then I'm thinking she's having to prove where she's at,
Yes.
but she was so afraid of him.
They weren't even dating, guys,
No,
either.
there was
It's
no relation between
there
them,
was no relationship between each other.
but he loved having her around him,
Yes.
you know. So anyway, um, she would call once in a while, and she would say, "Mom, I love you. Take care of Snickers." And the first time she did that, I was actually in Kansas shopping, and I called the police. And Don calls me and tells me that don't don't you ever do that again to us, or we will go suicide. I don't
Mhm.
know what all I could say by cop
Right.
if you ever do that again to us.
Just
And
yeah,
now I'm scared to death.
I always just say they'll off you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So
So
anyway,
he said, yeah, go ahead.
she did this several times, and thank God, like later that night or the next morning, she'd call me acting like nothing happened. And now I'm learning I'm on speakerphone because he's hollering at me. He's calling her the C word. He's calling her every name in the book that she
Mhm.
deserved to be SA'd by those two guys. I mean, this was a jerk, and I needed to get our daughter out of there. But she had to be drug free. She tried to go battered women's shelter. They wouldn't take her because she didn't have children.
Yeah.
I mean, because she was scared of him and scared of him doing something to us. And anyway, she finally got herself clean, and I am so proud of her. 6 months before she died, she
Yes.
got clean,
Mhm.
and she did it on her own, which is very tough to do, and she stayed clean. She started
Yes.
working for a place called the Whole Place, and you're not a nurse, you're kind of a nurse's aide, but
Mhm.
you just go to their house, and it's a lot of people have home health care. That's what she was doing. And
Right.
she was getting paid to actually take care of him now.
Yes.
And she wanted a couple more people in that neighborhood that she could walk.
Mhm.
And it made no sense at this point for her to come back to my house, me have to drive 30 minutes every day for just a few hours, drive back. And everything seemed to be fine. She was off drugs. And
Mhm.
he supposedly had cancer.
Yes.
So
He said he
I'm
had
thinking,
cancer, he was dying.
yeah,
Um,
He didn't.
yes.
He didn't have
Um,
it. He was
so
lying.
talk about the night about the gun that she was scared of the gun, like
okay.
at your husband's, I think it was.
One of the
Or
last times she was here, my husband was cleaning a couple guns, and they were all apart, like most of you know how you
Most did,
do it.
yes.
And she had been raised around these guns, and she came over and she was scared. She was like, "Dad, please put that away. You've got to put it away, please." And she's starting to cry, and I'm thinking, God, you're being over dramatic about this.
Mhm.
But anyway, that goes in line with what happened to her.
Mhm.
So I I am so sorry. I'm gonna have to hold. Can you hold on for like 30, 45 seconds? Show maybe a couple pictures.
Of
I'm
course.
gonna. I gotta do something real quick.
Sure, of course.
Okay, good.
So, let me find it. Bear with me. You guys haven't heard nothing yet. You guys haven't heard nothing yet. And something I want to get clear. Oops. Jackie is an extremely strong person. I've told you that. The people that knows her in here knows that. I don't want people to think, and Jackie doesn't want people to think that she is just a mother that uh, is just not willing to accept what happened. And I think that's something that she wants to make clear, and that I want to stress to you guys, that she's not just a mother who can't accept what happened. And you'll understand a lot more as we go into this story, of the miscarriage of justice that was done. This is Jackie. Yes, the mom. She is a community member. Her name is Jackie S. in as her screen name. So, you okay?
Yep, I'm sorry about that.
You're good.
Okay, so June, a couple days before her birthday, June 19th of 2017,
Mm-hmm.
she caught,
So the last 4 months of her life, she was talking to Nick, right, back and forth.
yes,
Angie and her mom, and okay, she was. Oh, wasn't she working at the Whole Person or something?
yes,
Okay.
that's what I said
Okay. Is that what
just
it
a
was
minute
called?
ago.
Okay. I'm
Yes,
sorry. Okay, you're ahead of me then. Go ahead.
no, you're fine.
I just want to make sure we got it all.
Right.
Yeah. Good.
And so, anyway, while she was living with Don, I do have to say this. He called me and he said, "Your daughter's overdosed. She's taking all my effing pills."
Mm-hmm.
And she wouldn't speak. He couldn't get her awake. And I'm yelling, "Get her to the hospital." I don't feel like effing driving to the hospital. He's 5 minutes away from a hospital, guys. And this Uber wasn't around
Right.
at this time.
Yes.
So anyway, I said, "You call 911 or I will." He did call 911. My husband and I decided to go see her. I was livid. This is right before she got clean.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, "Mom, I didn't take anything." And I'm like, "BS, or you wouldn't be in here."
Right.
I mean, they had to do her tummy, all kinds of stuff. It wasn't good.
Right.
And I said, "Don't make me ever bury you." And she goes, "Mom, I promise I did not take any pills." She goes, "I don't know what happened."
Right.
And
And this is the time, you didn't know whether to believe her or not, really, because
right, because
she
addicts
had
will
struggled
lie.
with addiction. Yeah.
Addicts will lie to get anything they
Yes.
want.
And this is what I'm trying to get to everybody, that you know Jackie keeps it real. She really keeps it real. Do you know what I mean? And
I'm not sugarcoating any of
right,
my kids that's getting on
right,
drugs. I'm,
right.
you
She's
know,
been through hell and back.
I'll be the
Yeah.
first one to call your probation officer if you have one, you know?
Right, right,
So, anyway, she goes, "Mama, I didn't." I said, "Well, what'd you have to eat?" Thinking maybe she had a bad food poison that's made her so sick she couldn't wake, tired, she couldn't get up. And she goes, "Mom, all I had was hot chocolate." And I'm thinking, okay. But after she died, it dawned on me. I bet you $1,000,000 she told me the truth. Because she looked me in the eye and said she did not do anything.
hmm
And I think he stirred some, and he fixed her the hot chocolate that day.
yes.
So, but I wasn't
Well,
putting this together.
that's what she had said. She said, "Well, Don had made me some hot chocolate," and that's about, yeah,
So I'm
that
thinking
moment.
pills,
Yes,
were put in there or something after
something.
we learned that she was clean. But she had been clean 6 months now. She got that job. She even told them that she was a recovering addict because
Yes,
that was Angie. And I
yeah,
don't know if most addicts do that or not, but I told her she didn't have to tell everybody she was an addict. She could be
right.
Angie too.
Yes,
But because she told them, they said that they would have to drug test drug test her randomly every week,
Yes.
but she wouldn't know which day. So they kept drug testing her. And I
Mm-hmm.
kept thinking, how does she still have this job? I'm so proud of her. And he's going to die and
Yeah.
she's going to come back home and she's not going to be scared anymore. So a couple days before her birthday in June of 2017, she
Mm-hmm.
got bronchitis.
Mm-hmm.
So she was given codeine cough syrup and diplocan. All you ladies know what that is, and an antibiotic of some
Mm-hmm.
sort.
That was June 19th, wasn't it?
That was about June 17th. She was sick with bronchitis,
Okay.
but she was out playing basketball with the neighbors' kids too. That was
Right.
Ann, and she would call me and she called us and sounded horrible over Father's Day and all this stuff. And then my husband on her birthday, both grandparents had birthday cards for with money. We gave her cards with money. And she was making her own money too at this time. And so, and then Tim took her to the grocery store to get, like,
Tim is your husband.
yes, Tim is my husband, her dad.
Correct.
He took her to the grocery store to get whatever she wanted. Money's no object of this stuff. And she picked up a bunch of like Sunny D. Ice cream was her favorite edible of any type.
Yeah.
And she got a Joel Osteen magazine. She journaled every day, so she had notebooks, all this stuff. And he got her new body shower gel.
Mm-hmm.
So June 19th, and our dog at the same time during these 2 days before her birthday, our dog, who was blind, was having seizures and she had got head tilt and she had to have surgery of some sort. I don't know. We had to take her in on 2 days after Angie's birthday. This dog, she couldn't see, she couldn't hold herself up, so we had to take her downstairs and let her go pee while we're holding her. So the night before, on the 18th, she called me late at night at 10:30, and she said, "Mom, please come get me." And she was
She was
yelling.
done.
She'd
She was
also got her own cell phone during this period of work.
like she was done. This is a very important part of this case.
So she called
Yes.
me from her own cell phone. And I'm thinking, how can he not hear her yelling? I mean, it's late. Somebody's
She was
asleep.
livid.
Yeah,
Livid.
she was pissed. She'd
And
only
that
used
was
the F word in front of me just maybe twice in her life. But
yes.
that night she was saying it a couple times. She goes,
Yes.
"Please come get me." And I'm like, "Are you okay?" She goes, "Do you think I'm okay?" She goes, "I'm tired of living here." I said, "Has he touched you? Or what's he?" She goes, "No." She goes, "I'm fine." She goes, "I just don't want to be here anymore." And I said, "Okay, call me in the morning. I can't come get you because I'm take Ambien."
It
And
was late. You had already taken your
it was
Ambien.
late. Tim was asleep. I'd taken Ambien. I said, "Angie, I can't drive."
Right.
And
This wasn't
I
the
said,
first time that she had called you like this,
"Right."
but
And
this was the
so,
first time she had been this livid.
yes.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, the next morning, we were out with the dog, getting ready to take it to the vet. Tim had called in to say he was going to the vet, wouldn't be in the office for a while. And I left my phone in the bedroom, my cell phone. And she'd called, but I didn't know it until Tim's mom called and said, "Angie just called and said, I love you. Please take care of Snickers," and hung up the phone.
Hmm.
She waited a few minutes because I soon found out this had happened to her too with Angie a few times.
Hmm.
She finally called
Was it that night or the morning?
that morning.
Okay.
So anyway, she'd called her mom. So Tim's mom called Tim and said, "You might want to call the police." And we him-hawed around discussing it and also discuss. We tried to call Angie back. She wouldn't answer her phone, but it was ringing. I tried to call Don. He wouldn't answer his phone, but it was ringing. Eventually, both of them they were shut off. They went straight to voicemail. So then I was like, yeah, go ahead and call the police. And I'm thinking this is going to be bad. Tim's thinking he should go, but what if it does turn out bad? He don't want to really go to jail, either.
Right.
And so he called the Independence Police. He explained the situation that Angie was 28. She was scared of this guy, but stuck there, but wanted to leave. Called and with a scary message, could you go check on him? He
Mm-hmm.
goes, and my husband explained she just had a birthday 2 days ago. She's 28. The dispatcher said she's 28. She needs to own it.
Well, but also you guys didn't want to call either because he said if you ever call the police, it'll be a
Right.
double.
Yes.
Starts with an S, guys.
Yes.
He'll double.
Both of them gone.
Yeah, both of them.
And so
a murder.
Yeah.
S.
Yes.
So
By police. So anyway, my husband finally calls, and that one dispatcher said that, and that just pissed both of us off. But it really got to him. So he finally called back, got a different dispatcher who was very nice.
So
and
the
they called back.
first time they didn't do anything.
Right.
Right. When you
We
called
learned
him.
later that they did, the first call didn't get called out.
Yes, it was 30 minutes.
Okay, and I don't have that right here on my
Yeah,
computer.
it was at least 30 minutes.
Yes. And so they called and they said, if anything comes up, we'll let you know. Otherwise, call back in 3 hours and call this number. So we're thinking, okay, we go ahead and take the dog. And both of us are thinking we should go over there.
Which
But
the vet is pretty close by the house.
The vet's just a few blocks away.
Right.
And so, but we were also like, no, we haven't heard from the cops. It's probably okay. I'll call her in a little bit. So we got home. Tim went to work. My grandson was here. He had spent the night, or he had came over that morning. And I had some groceries I had to pick up. So I ran to the grocery store, and I told my grandson, I always tell him, do not open the door. I don't care if it's police. Do not open the door. And he was here. I came home and he goes, Nana, you need to call the police. They were here. And I'm thinking, oh boy, she's overdosed or what's happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I called the police, and it was my city's police that came to us. And they told me that she had, offed herself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh my God, what hospital is she in? She's overdosed.
Yes.
And so I'm begging, which hospital?
You
They're like,
thought she had a
so
relapse.
yeah, so they're radioing Independence to ask how she died. And I heard a shot to the forehead.
Mm-hmm.
And I immediately told the police that were here, I said, she didn't do it, he did it. I said, she's scared to death of guns. She would not do that. I know that. She would take pills.
Yes.
And so I waited for Tim to get home to tell him what happened. Dawn, in the meantime, is in the hospital.
Okay, no. We need to go back.
Okay, so I'm sorry.
The police show up at the door.
Mm-hmm.
At Angie's door. They knock on the door.
Yes.
Dawn comes to the door in this 400 square foot duplex. Right? Very tiny, very tiny.
Oh, really tiny.
Very tiny. And Dawn was supposedly in the bedroom, right?
Right.
And Angie's supposedly
on
in the living room. 10 feet away. 10 feet.
Yes,
10 feet
literally.
away.
And
Now, Don says he didn't hear a gunshot in that 400 square foot house, that he was asleep, right?
yeah,
But
but he was not hard of hearing at all.
right, but the neighbors, one house, two house, three houses down, heard it.
Right.
Right. Okay. I just wanted to. We need to make.
Okay.
I just
I'm
want to make.
sorry. So
No, don't be sorry.
he
I know
goes,
you. Yeah.
he goes, well, she's right here. And all of a sudden he's like, oh my God, she offed herself. This is Don telling the police this.
Mm-hmm.
So within 11 minutes of that call getting dispatched and taken by an officer, no matter if he was 2 blocks away or 2 miles away,
Mm-hmm.
within 11 minutes, it was ruled a suicide. You know?
Correct.
And
With a man in the house who
yes,
has been in prison,
yes, Angie told us it was for drugs,
but
and
it
I
wasn't for
believed her.
drugs. But it
No,
wasn't for drugs. What was it for?
we found out later he was in trouble for homicide, murder of a neighbor in New York,
Mm-hmm.
in the Bronx, I believe.
Correct.
And anyway, so I did not know this at the time. And I'm just losing my mind. We're calling the. Oh, when I said, Tim, we need to go get her notebooks. We've got to find out what she was thinking. Could this be true? You
Right.
know, um, we don't want to be parents in denial. We're just trying to process all of this. And all her notebooks were gone. There wasn't one notebook. There was not one Chiefs jersey. There was nothing of Angie's, not even the shower gel.
Right.
It was
Everything
all
was
gone,
thrown
like
out.
she never lived there. And she just vanished. Just like Summer. She was there,
Yes.
all with all her stuff, it's all gone.
There was no belongings
There was one item
except
that
one
a
item.
lady had in her hands, and I don't know how this lady got in the place.
Yes. So you show up at the house trying to get her notebooks, her diary, whatever,
There's no
right?
police tape around, nothing.
Right.
We got right in the front door.
10 minutes in, no investigation, clear the scene. 11 minutes.
Yes.
And we actually have the records, the time breakdowns on this as well.
Right. We have all the receipts, as you guys want to say.
All the receipts.
And we also learned that we're like, where's Don? We found out he's in the hospital. The ambulance had to take him.
Right.
The neighbor said it was a drug overdose. My husband had to go in there because my husband didn't want us to get in trouble for breaking into the house, the duplex. So he went and actually got Don's keys, but he was asleep. And he told the nurse, he goes, I guess he OD'd. The nurse goes, no, we're giving him drugs to calm him down. So I'm like, okay, none of this is making sense. And it's a 30-minute drive, and all this stuff's going through my mind. And then there's none of her items. But I did find a gun right off the bat. And it was not the one that was used. But I found that bunch of bottles of alcohol, pill bottles full of pills in Don's name. Okay, she had all that right there. All of it right there if she wanted to do so.
Right.
My husband walks in. This is a small love seat with 2 cushions. He grabbed, if you're facing the couch, he grabbed the left arm of the couch because there's so much crap. When we walked in this place, it was disgusting.
Can you imagine in 10 minutes, they go in, they get Angie, no police tape, nothing. They take her out. Oh, they trust the man that, has already unalived someone and didn't hear a GUN didn't hear a GUN go off in a 400 square foot duplex 10 feet away. And she's naked, which she would never be naked. That wasn't Angie to begin with. And a GUN placed very interesting on her chest, which is not how a gun lands. Anyways. It was kind of like hoarders.
Kind of like the wells, I would say, inside. It wasn't.
Sort of.
It was bad. And so my heart's breaking.
And that's not how, she was raised or anything. Jackie Tim was a builder. That's what he built beautiful homes. They had a beautiful home, all of that, and just sad, man.
Breaking. I'm fighting this lady for a purse, and my
And
husband's
the lady is fighting you over your daughter's purse
that she said was hers, and I said, if you don't give me a effing purse, I'm gonna knock your ass out. I mean, I just had so much adrenaline going. She finally just handed over the purse. My husband, at this time, I'm looking, thinking, where the hell's he backing me up? I don't know who else is coming into this house. These are neighbors. I turn around, he's grabbing the left side of the love seat arm to get across all of this crap. His hand is covered in blood. Can I say that?
You can say blood, yeah.
Okay. He wipes it down the side of his light colored jeans.
They didn't do anything. Can you imagine a father is, in there right after she had died? They had removed Angie, and he gets his own daughter's blood on his hands. What day was this interview? I have no idea. I can check, Heather. Hold on. Yes.
And it's a tremendous amount.
So I want to make this clear. Your daughter, Jackie, just died. There's no scene, or there's no security. There's no tape.
No.
There is no more than a few minutes of investigation.
Right.
You get there. We don't see any tape. You walk in. There's a woman that you've never seen from Adam.
Right.
Taking the only thing
Some
left
crack hoe
that is in the house that could be your daughter's. Not even the shower gel that you bought her a couple days ago.
Right.
And y'all were kind of going at it a little bit. Obviously,
yes.
It's the thing. And Tim, your husband, Angie's dad, Angie's dad, is trying to, because it's a real small house, and he, Tim's a big man. He's real tall, right? And he's trying to get his way over there, and he puts his hand on the love seat, and that is Angie's blood, his own daughter's blood, that he's wiping
down his jeans, and
down
it
his
went
jeans.
far down. I'll never forget that.
Can you imagine the horror, guys? Can you imagine?
We were told she died in the center of the love seat.
Yes.
So now our minds are thinking, oh my God. And we still don't know one part of how she died that I'll tell you in a second. And
all right. So think about this. It's a love seat, and I have seen the crime scene footage, and she is in the middle of the love seat when she supposedly unalives herself. Well, how is the side of the love seat, like the side over here, it is saturated, not splatter or anything, saturated in blood, blood. Why am I spelling it? And this place was it was such a tiny place, and there was so much stuff in this 420 square feet duplex. Fluffy, 21 months. Thank you, my sweetheart. I appreciate you and love you to pieces.
And I'm thinking, how's this blood over there? When she's sitting up, she would have had to have been laying down, but then somebody would have had to set her back up because there was that much blood. But there wasn't
Yes.
much at all in the center of the love seat at all.
And we also, statistically, women, nicely done says, sounds like this area has an issue. According to the news article I'm reading, they rule it unaliving or self-inflicted unalive, and then they don't bother investigating anything or even do a full autopsy. And I'm telling you, I need to do a live. I don't know if people would be interested in it, but on this person who was the medical examiner, who has been in a lot of states. A lot of states. He might be in jail now. I don't know, but right on her. Yes, sit perfectly on her. Don't off themselves by gun. Statistically, it's not. It's a very rare. It's a way more rare thing than it is for a male to do that. Number 2, she was terrified of guns. Number 3, did Angie own a gun, Jackie?
No.
Okay.
She could have bought one if she wanted one.
Right.
Or
But
she
she
could have
didn't
paid
own a
that.
gun. She didn't own a gun, right?
No.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
So we've got all kinds of questions. We leave. I'm sick that I don't have nothing now of hers. I just want to go to her. We've called the morgue on the way home, and they said, what you need to be doing is finding a funeral home. Straight up. This hasn't even been a few hours yet. And I'm like, okay. And I'm yelling at Tim because we found out a little later that day that she was found in the nude.
Yes. And that's something that women, or especially women or men, doesn't matter.
You don't want to be found in the nude. I don't
That's the
care what
last
you look
place
like.
you want to be found, is in the nude. Nobody wants to be found in the nude. But, if you are hiding evidence, or something, you may want to take someone's clothes off, right? That
Right.
would make sense to me.
Right.
But yeah, so she was found in the nude. She was also found with a gun that was not hers, that she never had, neatly set right here, right?
Yes.
On her chest.
After it was through. That's how she supposedly was found.
No, I need you to go. No, go check downstairs.
And
I tried. Where is it?
Just go in the bedroom. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
okay, I didn't want to go ahead because he was right there.
He's good.
So she's found, and the blood that's on her, and Justin has seen all these pictures. The poor guy, he's had to look at all these images. But the blood runs horizontal.
Not
too
poor
long.
me, poor Jackie, and poor Tim.
Tim has never seen him.
That's right. I know that. And I would recommend him never to
He's
see them.
gone tonight because I'm doing this. I mean, he's not seen a police report. He's not. He tried at the beginning to go to the police and take care of everything.
Hmm
But
This is
anyway,
Tim's only child.
yes,
They
and
were thick as thieves, weren't they?
oh yes, they did everything together.
Yeah.
Tim always got a new Corvette or a new chopper. He had one custom made.
hmm
So they love like car shows and that kind of stuff and concerts. Every Kiss concert, every Kid Rock.
hmm
Tim's a Kiss person. I'm a Kid Rock person. She was all of it in between. So she would go to
Yes.
all these concerts and stuff. Would fly her places for it. She did live a good life up
Yes.
until that happened, and even after. She did move to Hawaii. She loved it out there for like a year.
hmm
Um, but getting back to this,
And you never
we're,
found her Tiffany necklace that you bought her or anything, did
no,
you?
no. She always
All of
wore the
that was
peace
gone.
symbol. Tiffany necklace. We bought our kids one every year for Christmas, something from Tiffany's, and that's
Right.
what she chose. Even in Hawaii, she kept it on.
hmm
Living in Oahu,
Yeah.
right on the beach,
And that
and I was
she
like,
wore
"That's
that
all to kill it."
every day. Every
Uh,
day, right?
It's in lots of photos.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
she's
Right.
not without it.
Right.
And anyway, so there's not even a necklace. When we called the morgue, I said, "Can we come get her clothes at least?" I wanted to be with her
Yeah,
so
you didn't
bad.
know that she was
Right. I
in
didn't know
the
she'd
news.
been found in the news. That's when they told me.
Right.
And I said, "Okay, what about her necklace?" And they said she didn't have anything on. I'm like, "Oh my God." I said, "Can we come see her?" "No, you can't come see her." So we called the morgue back when we found out for sure that she was found in the nude. Tim said, "I want a full autopsy and I want an SA kit done on her." Us as parents and most people, unless you've been around it or know somebody that has,
I mean, if it's claiming to be a unattended death and she allegedly intentionally done it, but there's a man that has murder charges and criminal charges throughout the yin yang, and he says he didn't hear it 400 square feet, and she's found nude, you're immediately going to do an autopsy and an R kit. Like, number one, first thing you're going to do. Listen to this.
don't know how this all works. I'm assuming we're getting an ambulance bill, a big bill from the ME's office. I don't care. I'm willing to pay whatever. I didn't know you could go to a private company, which
Yeah.
people need to know that.
Yes. Yes. You can have a second opinion always done on your loved one. You can privately do it, and if you think something is wrong, make sure people know this. It's important.
So she's in the medical examiner's office. It's only been a couple hours. We're asking for all this. It's stated in the ME's report a few different places that we ordered this.
Mhm.
3 or 4 days later, she arrives at the funeral home.
Mhm.
I had to see her no matter what before she got cleaned up. Everybody was looking at me like I was just crazy, but I had to see for myself. And
Well,
I went there and I ran my fingers through her hair that was soaked with blood. The caretaker was like, "She hasn't been cleaned up." I said, "I don't care." I mean, I'm feeling because they said they retrieved the bullet.
mhm.
So I'm feeling to see where they do a lid to get that bullet.
Mhm.
I can't feel it in her hair, but I feel like the back of her head had been hit with a baseball bat with
She had a big
dog.
tag on it.
It was actually a police stick that he had. He had all this SWAT gear. He had all this police stuff. I mean, SWAT this, SWAT that. Now I know people can buy that stuff at a garage sale, so I'm not going to insinuate anything. But he had an awful lot of this merchandise,
Yeah.
and
But also somebody who's been in prison for homicide shouldn't, you know what I mean?
yeah,
It's
you're
like,
not. Yeah, now I'm yelling at the police. This is because I knew thought he was in the jail for a drug charge. I said he's a felon. Get him on um, that crime alone.
right.
But let me tell you, when I went to that funeral home, I took a picture of my baby, and I looked and looked up wounds of that type.
Listen to this.
And I knew the black powder, and I can't think of the name of it only because I'm nervous telling this, but the burn marks from the gun. Do you know, Jason, what I'm talking about?
What is it? The flesh? What are the
It's not
stipple?
gunpowder, it's another name for it.
Stipple.
But you could tell it's more at the top than at the bottom.
It's like the burn, right?
Yeah,
It's the
it's like a
stippling.
small little word. Anyway, it looked fishy to me, and I didn't feel this lid on her. And he goes, "You've got to get her long sleeves." And this is in June, and I don't have none of no clothes for Angie. She would
Right.
not want to be put in a dress or a suit. She would have wanted chief material, chief stuff. I'm not finding anything, so I'm buying her a jean jacket and some t-shirt and a pair of jeans and some socks and a bra even. And Tim bought her, I think it was $1,000 cross necklace for her. And we took that to the funeral home. Then I found out they hadn't done a SA kit.
So, what was with her arms?
Well, let's just make sure she had not had an SA kit done. It's the night now of the service, the viewing. I'm calling my doctor asking if I can get a test, not realizing some of those fluids disappear within 24 to 48 hours.
Absolutely.
And I'm just beside myself. None of this is making sense.
Do you want
We
me to show the
finally,
picture of the arm?
yeah, well, we had the funeral,
Okay.
and I started sending out packets to Nancy Grace, Harris Faulkner, who used to be a news anchor in our city. I was sending it to OJ's lawyers. I was sending it to anybody and everybody I knew in the media to get this story heard because this was not making sense. And I mailed it out to the newscasters here in Kansas City. And so now, but we don't have a police report yet or autopsy results. I'm hoping at this point my daughter is on drugs and heroin, up, alcohol, whatever it takes.
Yes.
A mother begging that she was so messed up she didn't know what was going on.
Right.
And now my husband's going to the police department almost every day after the service. This guy never went anywhere besides home, work, and the shooting range.
Right.
This guy was starting to leave every day night. I couldn't keep him home, and he would leave about 11 p.m. And he was going to the police station after work and stuff. He was begging to talk to anybody on this case. We had the names of the detective. What? We had the names of the detectives. He said, everybody kept saying, there's nobody here you can talk to. I believe there's 350 employees at this police station. So it's not like a Mayberry.
Right. It's a big precinct.
Yes, it is. And Tim could get nowhere. I had to go to the medical examiner's office several times to finally get the report because the officer would not sign off on
Right.
Okay, so now we get the report and the pictures. Pictures will tell the whole story without me saying one word. If YouTube would allow that, but they don't, or I would show every picture and you could make your own assumptions. So if you want to show a couple of the pictures
Okay.
of her
I
arms,
will I will tell you guys, this is a trigger warning. This is an actual picture at the house. It doesn't show anything other than her arm, though we won't show anything else. But yeah, I will show. And this was on, she had it on both sides of her arms as well. Correct?
yes.
Just bear with me.
And when I'll tell this while you're doing that,
Mhm.
the night Don got out of jail, it was like 2 days later, 3 days
Mhm.
after the shooting.
Mhm.
He got out of jail, and a neighbor saw him leave the duplex late that night
Mhm.
and told him that she had. Uh, hold on to that picture for just keep it
Mhm.
up.
Yep.
She what was I saying? I'm so sorry.
The night Don got out of
Oh, the neighbor said he had caught the duplex on fire in the basement. He had seen smoke. My daughter saw his post on
stifling.
Facebook.
That's what it
Yes,
was. Stifling. Good job,
yeah,
Inga.
yes. Thank you,
That's what it was. I couldn't think of it
thank
either
you.
until she
I'm
said that.
not. Thank you. And anyway, um, I'm sorry. I lose track so
Don't
often.
be sorry.
When this happens to you, you really do get a thing called brain fog,
Oh my God, yes, of course.
grief brain.
Mhm.
Um, but anyway, here's the picture. Here's a picture of her arm
Yes, you see this bruising
with
right here?
contusions on both forearms.
Yes, right here.
Do you see this little mark up here? Go right over.
Right here.
She had these little cuts all over her.
See, I thought she had surgery there or something.
No,
She never had
she's
surgery.
never had a surgery a day in her life.
See, that looks like
Hmm.
I've had surgery, and it looks like
That's
that
like
where the
laparoscopic. I had my
yes,
gallbladder out.
yeah.
No, she's never had surgery a day in her life.
Huh.
Hmm. But who loved knives?
Mhm.
Oh, that
Well,
tattoo. I do want to say something fun. Her senior year, we sent her and two of her friends that had never been out of the state of Missouri. Our favorite place to go was Fort Lauderdale, Clearwater, Naples, all over Florida, down to Miami and the Keys. And so we used to go all the time, whether it was with Tim's work or on our own vacations. And me as a child, my parents had a place down there. So, I mean, that was like our second home. So she
uh,
went to oh,
yep.
thank you, Goose.
Trust me,
Um,
you have all the support in the world here right now.
oh, thank you, because I'm not seeing chat, so I don't know what's being said. But that little tattoo, those little three munchkins that just graduated, we sent them to Fort Lauderdale, and we rented a house on the beach for them. And that two of them decided to get piercings, and then two of them decided to get tattoos.
Mhm.
My daughter,
You
that was her first tattoo, the
you know
yin
a little
yang.
secret about me? I have a tattoo right there too.
Do you really?
Yeah, and that's the only
Wow.
tattoo I ever had.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was enough where she was wearing shorts, you couldn't see it. But I love it. I remember this is another funny story. I'm glad I'm remembering fun things now. When she was little, Tim already had a tattoo, and
Mhm.
I got one on my 30th birthday of a dolphin on my ankle. And I
Mhm.
came home and I was so excited to show her this cool looking dolphin jumping out of the waves. And she starts crying. Oh my God, both of my parents have tattoos. Like we just ruined her whole reputation here. And one other funny story I have to tell because this is her personality.
Why is there bruises right here, right? Why is this? What's going on here?
Because she can't think normal. She did not think normally. But one time, I always waited for the school bus. It dropped them off right there, but I was at the door every day, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you, Kim. And the door, she wasn't on the school bus, and her friends are, and I'm freaking out. I'm calling school. They're like, no, she's not here. That little stinker told the bus driver that we moved, and the bus driver believed her, although she got on the bus that morning.
That's
So the bus driver was driving around with Angie in the bus, and she finally said, "Oh, I'm just kidding." I mean, this was Angie. She would pull the wool over anybody's eyes, but it was in a fun way.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, these pictures show that she had two contusions, one on each arm. Um, she had a hell of a time in Fort Lauderdale, I've heard about, so that's cool. The cuts on her, I don't know what that's from for sure. I don't think she was a cutter, honestly.
I don't think
I
that's
should
okay.
have triggered that. Yeah, I don't think she did it herself.
I'm going to
I
show the
truly
other
don't.
arm. That's
Yes,
okay.
yes.
And now this is her left arm.
Look at that, guys.
Someone grabbed her. They hurt her.
And this is right after, because you can see a little bit of.
This is there is lots of bruising, you know.
I mean, that's a pretty big bruise.
This
And
is
remind you,
called
she'd been playing
lividity.
basketball 2 days prior, and
Yeah.
Tim had saw her too for her
Yes.
birthday.
It's from where there's no
Okay,
circulation.
we saw the wound, and we
So we're
saw
looking
blood
at
was
this
running
right
down. She had a
here.
pair of glasses on.
Did you wear glasses?
Once in a while,
But
mainly contacts.
were they her glasses?
No, they were the
So
ugliest looking glasses you've ever
yes.
seen. It was
And
something my grandma would have worn back in the 50s,
yes.
like
So
cat eye.
can you think of a reason why she would have another
No,
person's
she
glasses
don't. She
on?
took her necklace off, all her clothes, but she put on her glasses to do this,
Yeah,
and she had
yeah.
contacts.
That's another thing. I forgot about that. In the crime scene photos, she has glasses on. She has glasses on. She never wore glasses like that. Why did she have glasses on? That's the only thing she had on her was glasses. She didn't wear glasses like that. She normally wore contacts. And that's exactly right. Hey, Jude.
No. Angie would have also, if she would have taken pills to do it, Angie would have put her clothes neatly beside her that she would have wanted
Yes.
buried in, and she would have left a note, no matter what. If it was to nobody, but she would have had all her notebooks full of poetry and journals and stuff, which wasn't there. So we
Yeah.
never knew what happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm assuming all these times that she called and said, "I love you, take care of Snickers," that he had done this to her prior to. And that's why she was so scared to see Tim cleaning our revolvers.
Yeah.
All of it started to make sense. Now I'm all finding out he's been in jail for, the word.
Homicide.
Yes, he's been in prison.
Yes, her contacts were in as well, and her glasses was on. No sense.
So now the news anchors are starting to call me, a couple of them. I'm starting to talk. But they said, this is so outlandish. She even told me, she goes, when I first came here, I'm thinking, these are parents in denial. She goes, but I'm telling you, you guys are not crazy.
No,
She goes, this is one hell of a story.
So tell me about her nose.
Oh, her nose. Okay. Her nose is broke. We have x-rays. They did do x-rays. They didn't do a SA kit And they did not do an autopsy. Get that,
Yeah,
you guys. There was no Y incision. They did, what do you call it when you just observe, when you see it?
just a visual autopsy.
Visual autopsy.
Yeah.
Yes. That's all they did.
Which is literally nothing, to be honest with you, because I worked at a funeral home, and that's just a visual autopsy is literally just examining the outer parts of the body. That's it. Just a review, just looking to if you notice anything. That's it. That's what they did. Just about
Yeah.
nothing.
No.
I mean, it's
But they
over.
said they got the bullet out of her head. But the bullet was shattered. It was a 22. And in the x ray, it draws a straight line,
I'm
basically.
trying to find the X-ray. So.
It's straight line back. It's, it's the bullet shattered in pieces, shattered everywhere. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say they did not retrieve the bullets.
No. Well, I mean, they
the
didn't.
caretaker was even 99.9% sure that he did not.
Well, I mean, first of all, I'll tell you, I'm not a doctor by any means, but I have worked at a funeral home, and I have seen a lot, and I have seen X-rays, and in my opinion, I didn't see nothing.
Okay,
I
well,
didn't. I did. I did.
She had a broken nose in the X-ray, and her teeth, all her bottom teeth,
Here you go.
there was like 2 or 3 uprooted.
That's exactly right,
Those
Becca.
white ones, the 3, and that one right in the center, that is uprooted real high.
Yes. So her teeth were loosened. Some of her teeth were almost completely out, which, the pressure can do from a GUN shot can, do some damage, but it was very high, and I think she had been punched. It looks like she was restrained. Yep. Yep. No exit wound. None. None at all. Guys, I'm going to do about 5 more minutes of this, and then we'll have to do a part 2 on this. Jaw was broke. Yeah. Her jaw was broke. And then because I'm going to be doing another live later, and this is only halfway through at the point.
In fact, her dentist, I took the photos to the dentist, her and our dentist, and she stopped me on that page. And that's what I wanted her to do exactly, but I wanted it done in her timing. She goes, wait a minute, that's not how her teeth were. I'm like, I know, right? Because it looks like her nose is broken. But I did get other radiologists to tell me that too. So that isn't on my doctor's shoulder, but the teeth are.
So, and I mean, the bullet was
She's
about
got these arms, and that in the ME's report, out of all these issues that's wrong with this body, the only thing that's listed is one contusion on her forearm, on one arm. Nothing about her teeth. Her ankle is out of place or totally broken.
Yes.
This girl also, she may have been thin and tiny, but her fingers were so badly. Her fingers look like a 90-year-old's, and I'm not joking. From basketball, she had broken every one, some of them several times, jammed them, whatever. Her knuckles were huge. She had ugly fingers. So I think it would be very hard to turn that way. But I'm not even given that an option anymore, and I did for years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so now I'm pissed. Now I start going after seeing all this crap. I
Mm-hmm.
start going to the police department. I can't get nowhere. We're calling them for 6 weeks, waiting for this report.
Right.
We're calling them daily. Tim's calling me all day from work. Have you heard anything? No, no, I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I would just sit here and wait. Just
Mm-hmm.
sit here and cry daily. I still, to this day, it's been almost 5 years in June. I've not heard one thing out of the detective on this case, nor
Right.
has my husband. They
Mm-hmm.
won't talk. They won't answer my emails. Is there one that kind of just shows her?
Thank you, Little Texas, 21 months. You are an OG, my friend. I love you to pieces. You know that. Um, thank you so much, firefighter. How have you been? I haven't seen you in ages. Oh, sorry, wrong one. Okay.
Their lips right there, up, up, go up.
Oh, can you see this?
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm sorry. Shit.
No, you're fine. Oh,
I don't want to show
go up, go
you.
up.
Oh,
Oh,
which one do you want? I don't want to. You just tell
well,
me which one.
there was one of her teeth, kind of like just her. No, I think it shows her nose and mouth. Maybe I had
Mhm.
cropped it.
Okay, just bear with me. Very kind of you, SU. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. You want to show that one? The one it says busted lip,
Yes,
teeth
yes,
way out of line. That one. Okay.
yes. Because I shared this to a Facebook page group that I had for her
Okay.
Justice for Angie
I
Schroer.
just want you to be comfortable with
Yes,
it right
this is
there.
fine.
Okay.
It's out there. So look at this. Her lips busted, all those front teeth, and to
This is her lip busted and her front teeth that are loose. Now, it just doesn't add
the
up,
right of the picture
in my opinion. Hmm.
are all moved. They were straight before. So
Yes.
somebody had hit her up under the chin.
Right through here.
Yes, or under up on the chin. I don't know.
Yeah.
The
Or
only
the
good thing about it was she was a black belt from karate and she was in tip top shape no matter how many drugs she had done. She always still ran and everything. Um,
Mhm.
I hope she got him. I really pray to God she
Now,
got him
didn't
good with her
Donald
foot.
have company the night before? Did he?
Yeah, he did.
Listen to this.
Yeah, there was a girl that had been over there, and but she had left later that night. That was according to Angie's text.
Oh, I was thinking there was a guy there. Maybe
No,
there
I
wasn't.
told you something in private.
Okay, then I'll shut up. I don't want to
No, you're fine.
know. Okay.
So we're going to police department,
Oh, I
and
knew what you're talking about. Okay, yeah. Okay.
we're just trying to get any information we can. We're not getting nowhere. I'm trying to call the medical examiner's office. I finally get a report, and it's pretty thick. And
Mhm.
but that's the only injury. But her foot.
All right, y'all. I'm going to. Yeah, it still looks red there for sure. I'm going to end it here. I have a live scheduled for here in just a little bit, so I will be live just a little bit. We'll be talking about the Summer Wells case. Found some stuff about Don, some things that he said. I'm like, what's up with that? Thank you all for being here. The best way that I knew how to honor Jackie was to honor her daughter because she wanted her daughter's case to be out. And I know it's a lot for some, and some people can't watch this kind of stuff, and it's totally understandable. She was very kind and generous, Debbie. She absolutely was. Thank you all for being here for the last 2 hours, 11 minutes with me. I appreciate you tremendously. Jackie, we love you. And praying for um, the family and Jebra and everyone. So Jackie and Angie are together once again. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate you all more than you ever know. Could have chosen to be anywhere, but you chose to be here with me, and I appreciate that tremendously. We'll see you guys in just a little bit. We'll be talking about Summer Moon, Utah Wells. Good night.